Welcome to Flower Hill. We are happy to have you come in this particular year, but try to realize that we want you to know the place as it was when it was built in 1877. Then you would not have heard all of this noise from the street because Austin stopped at Shoal Creek and what is now West 6th Street was only a dusty country road. My grandfather, Dr. Richmond Kelly Smoot, chose to come out into the country to build his home, and he wanted a place on the hill, which this is. He also liked the little lake, which was over to my right. You can't see it now because it disappeared many years ago. That's quite another story, but where Pressler Street now is used to be a lake. Here on the front porch, you can see evidence of all sorts of unusual things about building then opposed to now. The house was built of brick, handmade brick, made on the other side of the Colorado River, right down here, a short distance away, over in what is now Zilker Park, about where Stratford Drive comes to the river. Also, notice that the brick were handmade to the extent of even being measured for the particular place where they are. The brick here in the bay windows were all measured to fit the angle, that 3/4 angle, which is needed for all of the walls of the bay windows. Likewise, over to my right behind me, the wall of the library, as you will see it is, was made of brick so fresh and so new they were still soft. So when they were picked up, many fingerprints are shown in those brick. You can't see them from this angle, but take your time later and go to see those handmade brick. Also, these columns were not here on the original house. The house in the beginning had a simple frame porch with simple posts, simple wooden posts. But in 1925, after that many years, the house needed some repairs, and so my mother decided it would look better with columns, regular pillars. My father wasn't quite so sure we needed columns, but there was a house available down south of where Covert Buick now is, and he said that he would try to get those columns. He made an arrangement with the people who owned the place to sell him the columns when he was ready to put them onto this remodeled front porch. However, in the meantime, Dr. Z.T. Scott came to town, like the entire old house down there, which was decaying rapidly. He bought the entire house, and the owners let the pillars go with the house, forgetting all about their arrangement with my father. My mother was greatly distressed over losing those pillars, but my father said, well, such things did happen sometimes. Those are the pillars that are now on Sweetbrush, which became the Z.T. Scott home out on the lake. But about these columns, my mother was so determined to have columns that she and the contractor went up the river and on a private property persuaded the man to sell them 6 large, tall, thick cypress trees. So they cut those, brought them in, had already dug great holes for them, put those 6 trees, cypress trees, down into the holes, poured concrete around, bricked around that, and then bricked around all the trees, and used plaster and whitewash and paint later to make what we call Mother's columns. They're not Corinthian and they're not Ionic or any of the other classical kinds, but architects have said these are strong, that they will probably outlast the kind that have to be cared for so carefully. By the way, before we go inside, something else occurs to me, and that is how the place got its name of Flower Hill. My grandfather, coming here from Kentucky, was very much taken with pecans, and he wanted pecans on the place. But for some strange reason, they would not grow for him. And my grandmother, on the other hand, was planting flowers right and left and had wonderful luck with those. They all bloomed, they all grew, they all multiplied everywhere. So grandmother teased grandfather by saying, "You want to call it Pecan Place, but you have no pecans. But I have flowers, so I think we should call it Flower Hill." And therefore it got its name. And as we turn to go in the door, one more thing I noticed. Above the door, we have this Texas star in iron, wrought iron, by Mr. Lee Weigel, W-E-I-G-L, one of the superb craftsmen that came to Austin. His father did, that is, bringing the family. Anyway, the Weigel Iron Works has been famous and much treasured in Austin for a long time. This house originally did not have ironwork around the windows or even fences, but situations and times changed to the point we needed so much more protection that we finally had to put the fences around, and all of the windows are barricaded, the doors are barricaded with wrought iron, and above the front door Mr. Weigel created this really superb Texas star. So that is Mr. Weigel's star. Now come on into Flower Hill.